And if there's anything that they're unsure of or you're still unsure of, you're more than welcome to reach out and connect with me on. But as far as we get ready to get started here and dive in, I just want to give you all like a little overview about us, right? Who we are, what it is that we do here. And so for those of you who aren't aware, we are in the Southwest region, but everyone around the nation calls us the Southwest. And it's simply because for the past 10 years, guys, we just won our 10th consecutive national championship as an organization here in the Southwest region, breaking the all-time best record for the company to date. And our goal currently is to go out and beat ourselves and break that same record that we set last year. Now, we're under the tutelage of Mr. Lloyd Reagan here, arguably the #1 region manager of all time in company history. But here directly in the GCK division here in the Gulf Coast, that is spearheaded by our fearless leader here, Miss Kathy Kristen. And so you guys got to learn a little bit about Kathy within your interviews, right? And some of you knew about her before even joining the team. And so Kathy is a 9-time national champion here at the company. She's over 23 years here in the business, and pretty much every record she set till this date still stands. She's over $70 million now in personal sell. I mean, in career sales. She's a #1 best-selling author, a kick butt mamapreneur, and we get to work side by side with her here in our organization. And so for those of you getting a chance to start in this organization, well, you're now a part of a championship team. So by show of hands, how many of you have ever been on a championship team, whether it was athletics, whether it was academics, right? Local, nice. How'd that make you feel? Thumbs up, thumbs down? Yeah, thumbs up, right? You walk a little different, you talk a little different, people look at you a little different, they look up to you, right? So there's no difference here in our organization. And that's exactly how it is. Now, for those of you who may have not been a part of a championship team before, guess what? You are now. From the moment that you hopped on our Zoom, from the moment you were accepted in the interview process, you joined the championship organization, and we're excited to have you. Because guess what? People look up to us, but most importantly, we look up to one another, and we want to go out and do something amazing this summer and go beat our all-time best here in the Gulf Coast. And how are we going to do that? What amazing individuals just like you ready to lock arms here in our organization. We have so many different opportunities for our representatives to succeed on a student level and even on a career level here beneath Kathy and in the middle. These are more so our career positions. We have our district manager team, which has over 60 years of experience combined in there. Cody Rose, our assistant division manager, actually the #1 district manager in the country last week, representing for the GCK in the Southwest region. And currently right now, College Station is #2 in the nation, going after their own Silver Cup this year. And as you all see here in the middle, we have some of our Cutco sales professionals. I can only fit 8 of them on here, guys. If we tried to put all of our CSPs on this screen, we'd be here for a very long time. But these individuals here were all students at some point within our organization, graduated and decided to stick around because of the opportunities that we have to offer. All of those individuals there go out and they make 50% commission. So whatever they sell, they earn half. So they work part-time, earning a full-time income. And so some of the perks of being a manager or being a Cutco sales professional, as those include international travel. There's a car bonus on the manager side, like BMW or Tesla program, but most importantly, job security. And we saw that more than ever here in these past 4 years post-COVID. And so for those of you who aren't aware, we are looking to fill 10 career positions in 2025. So if you're someone, who's a little bit more experienced, you've graduated, or you're looking to start a new opportunity, those opportunities do exist, and you can feel free. We can chat about those a little later. But why do I say these things, guys? Because if I don't talk about them, then you don't know what exists or what's possible here. On the far left here of our screen, we have our 2024 branch managers. All of these individuals here are students or recent graduates here in the Houston and surrounding areas. And so this summer, they're all running a branch office for $250 million company, completing our entrepreneurship and management internship, where they are in charge of the hiring, training, recruiting, really just development of their given territory. And it's 100%, pure profit. They go out and follow what our divisional manager has taught them in our leadership academy in this past year. But all of them ranging from, 17 to 25, or even our grad students like Rossi, who's retired and going out and taking advantage of this opportunity here. And so These individuals, like Morgan, who's actually here on screen with you, will be running and participating in some of your training here this weekend. Morgan is currently a student at the University of Houston downtown. She's one of our top student earners here in the Houston area. Some of you have the pleasure of interviewing with Miss Morgan. She is our Sugarland branch manager this summer. Well, they'll be bringing in and making a lot of good noise out that way. We've got Caden DeRamos here on camera. He's our Montgomery County our Montgomery County branch manager this summer, who's currently a student at Blinn. Caden is going to be bringing the heat out in that area as well, but taking advantage of this entrepreneurship internship opportunity to go out and do something impactful this summer. We also got Mr. Johnny Temez, who some of you have the pleasure to interview with, who is running our North Houston branch office. And fun fact about Johnny, y'all get to meet him a little bit over these next couple of days, but his family has actually owned Cutco for almost 65 years, somewhere in that range. And we've only been in production this year. We're celebrating our 75th anniversary. So he's grown up using his stuff. His great uncle actually sold Cutco, and it's been in their family for generations. So you have some great leadership there. And then we also have, you'll have an opportunity to learn from the rest of our management team here as well. But all of these individuals going out this summer, completing the internship. And at the end of the summer, as a reward for all their hard work and effort, the company actually allows them to sell for 50% commissions for the next 3 months after they finish the internship. So they're able to go out and work part-time and earn a full-time income, just like our sales professionals here in the middle. I know Brooke took advantage of that with her being a veteran. This is her second time completing the internship. She took advantage of that last summer, and she earned over $17,000 before starting up the semester at A&M. And so I don't say any of that to impress you, but to impress upon you, for those of you who are excited about doing something different, getting a little bit more involved. Well, we're always looking for individuals, who want to be the next leaders here in our organization. And so the more we know, the more you share, the more we can help you out. And they'll also all be competing for a trip to Budapest this upcoming year. So amazing opportunity, and you guys can have joined us at a better time. And so we're coming off a really big high here within our organization. Like I shared, we finished #1 in the nation this past year as a Southwest region, and our organization is just continuing to grow. These are a couple of snapshots from our year-end banquet. Just having a lot of fun along the way. This past March, we actually got to go take our national trip to Spain, and so we had over 600 managers and representatives out in Spain for the week, and some of us went to Portugal beforehand, amongst many other places. Even had a chance to catch Real Madrid in action, so rooting for them this upcoming week as they go play in Wembley to win the whole thing, right? And so for any Real Madrid fans there, you're a fan of mine. I'm a fan of yours as well. As far as Jamaica, this past April, we had a chance to take a bunch of people out to Jamaica for a contest that went over December in January. And so there's a lot of amazing opportunities to travel and just to have a lot of fun along the way. And so what I love most about the job, even 11 years later, is that definitely it is what you put into it is what you get out of it. So we work hard, we also play hard mentality. And so we know when it's time to get down to work, but we also know when it's time to get down to business. And so why is the summer such a big portion for us, and a big opportunity for our representatives and our team to go out and just do something awesome? Well, here's what I'll tell you. How many of you have ever, been on a sports team or know how a sports team operates? Okay, awesome. Pretty much everyone here. So here's what I'll tell you. We operate very much so like a sports team, and our summer, oh my God, right now we're gearing up for our playoffs, which is on June 10th. So if you guys want to, you definitely want to write this down, get a screenshot of this. These are all of our summer dates because we're ready to go crush our summer season. And right now, everything we're doing, like, starting last week, has been building up for June 10th. And so this upcoming June 10th this is really our playoffs. And so we're excited to see who's going to be in our starting lineup. We're currently looking for 15 all-stars to help us go out and compete against, everyone here within our division and in our region. So that way we can continue to build momentum, for what's to come. So May through June for us, just so y'all know, just so everyone here is aware, is, where we're really just in our gold period. We're grinding, right? We're ready to get out there and get to it. And so just so y'all know, our team will grow 10 times what it is now. We'll have 100 to 200 new people on the team, but right now we're looking for our starting lineup. And so our playoff sales competition is hands down one of the funnest things as we get together. So when is that going on? Well, it's going to be going on June 25th. Alrighty, June 25th is when we'll be actually celebrating the actual event, but the competition takes place from the 10th through the 25th. It'll be here in Houston. We'll be at the Country Club downtown on the 50th floor, celebrating there. It gives us an opportunity to really just recognize our leaders and everyone really in the room. It takes a team. We'll celebrate and we'll have a great opportunity to learn from some of the best minds here in the business. And so I am looking for a starting lineup for that date there, because that's going to lead us to our Super Bowl, which is in the second half of the summer. And our Super Bowl is going to be in Austin, Texas. And guys, in the playoffs, we're competing against everyone in our division and in our region. As in our Super Bowl, we're competing against everyone in the nation, including Canada. So we have a lot of fun. There's a big build up to it, and I'm super excited about having 7, 10, 15, 20 plus representatives being representing GCK on stage there and representing the pilot office and bringing it back to where it should be. And so that event's going to take place August 3rd to 5th. It is in Austin. You definitely want to note that down. You definitely got to get there. I was talking to a representative this morning of ours, James Gardner, who goes to Texas State, and he's already put the dates in his schedule. He's ready to go. And he's like, Claudia, remember last year and on the boat and all these different things. And so we're excited to get as many people there as possible. Our goal, is to have 100 individuals from our organization there in that room, and to have, 25 plus standing on stage being recognized in front of, our entire region, which is really cool. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and dive into the overview of today. So as far as today, what we're going to do, what we're going to cover, this meeting is meant to set you up for these next 2 days. And so we'll cover like your foundations and expectations. So what to expect from us, what we expect from you. We'll cover your training appointment list expansion. So by show of hands, just so I know, how many of you started working on that brainstorm assignment? Awesome. All right. So how many of you, or maybe you're like me, okay? You're like, well, the assignment's due at 11:59. I'm going to start on it at about 9:30. Okay. It's okay. All right. I say that because when I came into training, I had 6 names and numbers on my list. All right. I was like, well, the assignment's due at 11:59. I've got some wiggle room there. Well, the assignment that we're going to work on here today, all righty, when I did this in my first day of training, it helped me brainstorm over 75 people that I could potentially sit down and do presentations with. So when we go over this assignment here in a bit, I want you to play full out. All right. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm never going to give you busy work. All right. Never going to give you busy work. I'm only going to give you assignments that are going to directly impact your paycheck. So you don't get a report card around here. Your report card is your paycheck. All right. And the great thing is that you get to create that every week. And so input equals output. So when we go over that assignment, you definitely want to take advantage of it, play full out, and write down as many people as you can when we go through that. Now, your top customer list. Some of you, you're already thinking, oh my God, I know who this be perfect for, or you thought about some of your buddies or relatives, things like that. Well, we're going to talk to you about our target market, right? Max and things like that, and why we have a target market. So just like any organization that has a top product, service, thought, concept, idea, they have a target audience. All right. So how many of you know like Sony and PlayStation? All right, some of you have one. Okay, so here's the thing. Sony and PlayStation, their target audience is between 7 to 11. Alrighty, 7 to 11. Why 7 to 11? That's not saying that people younger than 7 can't game. That's not saying people older than 11 can't game. What they know is if they hook their customer between the ages of 7 and 11, they'll have them forever. All right. So by show of hands, how many of you know someone who's like 15 to 20 years old that plays video games? All right. How many of you know someone that's like, let's say 25 to 30 that plays video games? All right. How many of you know someone who's 40 years old with a headset on, sitting in their living room, cursing out someone in another country they're never going to meet? Exactly. All right. So again, that's not saying that people older than 11 can't game or people younger than 7 can't game. That's just saying if they hook them in that target market, they'll have them forever. The proof is in the pudding. We're no different. Okay. So we know exactly who our target audience is. All right. So basically soccer moms, barbecue dads, fishing uncles, right? Things like that. So we'll talk a little bit more about our target market and how to help you, go out and impact your first weekend. So I had a chance, I know I was talking to to Diaja about this, and we were talking about how, you know, in your first weekend, you guys have the pleasure of starting in the back end of our pay period. So everything, like, you're gonna have the availability to go out and do appointments as soon as training is over, Saturday evening. And so everything you do from Saturday evening to Monday night, you get paid on next Friday. All right. So I want to help you set up a great first weekend. And so we want to see your best people first, our target market first, so I can teach you how to multiply those individuals. And then the goal, of course, is to help you and teach you how to see everybody. But this weekend, we're going to focus on our top customers and our target market. We'll get your app set up here. I wish this thing existed when I started 11 years ago. I promise you, I would have been a lot more organized. I would have had great, even better averages. This thing keeps your whole business in one space. And so how many of you have ever like lost a notebook or, you know, misplaced something? Yeah. And then you have to start from scratch. Matthew, how'd you feel about that? Thumbs up, thumbs down when you lost that notebook? Thumbs down. He's like, womp, womp, womp. All right. So here's the thing about this app. It's designed by my really good friend, Jacob Gordon, who's a graduate of Texas A&M. And he excelled in every position that we have here in the company. And he developed this app to help you keep your business all in one space. And just in the recommendations portion. So we're going to be teaching you all how to get referrals and how to duplicate your people this weekend. And on average, when we were first doing this, individuals were averaging about 5 recommendations per person that they saw. And since we've had this app, we're averaging 9.94 recommendations. So just shy of 10 per person that they see. So for example, Sadie, you go out and do, you know, let's say even 5 appointments, right? In your first weekend. Well, with the averages that we're seeing on the app, you're looking at having, you know, 50 to 60 plus new names and numbers of people you can reach out to in the, you know, once you start your advanced training this upcoming week. So definitely want to take advantage of all those things that we put together there. So I'm going to go ahead and dive into some tips to help you get the most out of training. So you do want to make sure you have something to take notes with. The first thing I can definitely tell you guys is don't be too nervous. All righty. Don't be too nervous. Here's the thing. We are not looking for perfectionists. Okay. We're not looking for perfectionists. My goal is to lock arms with people who are excited about doing something different. That's going to help them get 1% better each day. You're going to notice very quickly that it's not about the knives, because the knives sell themselves. Okay. They've been around since 1949. They're American made. We make K-bar for the US military, right? People can pass them down generation to generation. If they melt, chip, crack, break, rust, whatever, we replace them for free forever. That sells itself. My goal and objective is to teach you all how to sell and present yourself, righty? So that whatever it is that you want to be long term, we develop you into a 5-star recruit, and the knives just happen to be a vehicle. And so I'll say this though, the job is not for everyone forever. Okay. So what do I mean by that? The job is not for everyone forever. So it may not be 11 years like me, 23 years like Kathy, right? 7 years like John. The job is for everyone, at least for a season, is what I believe. And so regardless of what it is that you're going out to do, whether you want to be an engineer, a nurse, right? You want to go do more so of a trade like welding, you want to run a family business, anything like that. You can't name any position that doesn't involve interpersonal communication skills, networking, time management, you know, really just being able to present yourself to the best of your ability. And those are all the same skills that our representatives learn here and that people are always looking for. And so here's what I'll say to that. You never know until you try. All right. So I didn't just wake up in 2013 and say butter spreaders. That'd be kind of weird. No, I woke up, my ex-boyfriend recommended me for the job. I spoke to Sabrina Belford on the phone. She's like, starting pays $13. You know, we're interviewing on a first come, first basis. And I showed up and I was like, wait, knives? Everyone has knives, right? Oh, duh, right? And so my manager at the time, Melissa, she just explained to me, she's like, what do you want to do long term? And I said, hey, I'm studying business. I want to run my own business someday. And she goes, I guarantee you every skill that we cover here, you can apply even if you don't even go into business. And so what does it look like to give yourself a shot? And she looked at me and she said, Claudia, give yourself 2 weeks. And if at the end of those 2 weeks, right, you feel that you learned what you needed to learn, it's not a fit, I have no problem writing you a hand sign letter of recommendation for anything that you see fit for yourself because you gave it a shot, right? And so what I'll tell you is you, for myself, like she told me, you don't know what you don't know. And so it's like a muscle, you know, you got to work it. So for those of you who've played sports, you get that. You didn't just wake up one day and and be the be the state champion, right? You worked every single day to get to that. So we treat the job the same way. For example, let's say this, let's say your auntie gave you her chocolate cake recipe, Caleb. Let's say your auntie gave you that recipe, and everybody loves this cake. Like, it's gone at every family event. It's gone before the meal is even consumed, right? And you said, "Hey, auntie, can I get that recipe?" All right, because you wanted to make it yourself. And if you took that recipe and maybe that week you're like, well, I did start this new workout plan. They did tell me I need to take in more protein. So you know what? I'm going to take Auntie's recipe and I'm going to add 2 extra eggs to it. And you know what? I'm going to do like a double scoop of chocolate protein powder. Thumbs up, thumbs down, everybody. Is Caleb guaranteed to get her auntie's like delicious, delectable? Yeah. Oh, Dalton, just before I could even finish, he was like, "You're not getting that cake, Caleb." So I say that to say this. All right. All right. I say that to say this. The manual, the what we're teaching here, guys, everything, it's like a recipe. Okay. And you got to follow it. All right. If you don't follow it, I don't know what you're going to get. So I know in our interview, we talked about like this national average, right, of like a 60% closing percentage, right? We talked about, having a $400 average order. Well, just so you know, here in our organization, that's more so a 70 to 80% closing percentage. And it's actually a $480 to $500 average order here in our organization, even higher than the national average. And here's why. Our representatives follow the recipe. All right. If you don't follow the recipe, I can't guarantee anything. All right. You might get mush. I don't know. All right. So as far as the 2 non-technical keys to success, guys, it's pretty simple. It boils down to this. It's definitely number one, being a positive attitude. So Chase, that's not saying every time I see you, boss, you have to be happy-go-lucky or anything like that. All right. That comes from the type of questions that you ask. Okay. And so there are 2 types of questions that people typically ask. There are failure-seeking questions, and then there are, positive success-seeking questions. So here's the difference between the 2. I'm going to point out the obvious. A failure-seeking question typically starts with "what if?" All righty, typically starts with "what if?" So Chase, I'm not saying you do this, but let's say Chase came to me and he's like, "Well, Claudia, what if no one ever buys? Or what if no one picks up the phone? Or what if, right?" I'm probably going to look at Chase like he has 6 heads. Just being realistic, okay? And here's why. I've paid for a lot of coaching, invested, and my mentors have invested in me and vice versa. And we've been taught to think, to rewire and retrain your brain, right? And so what's a different way to reroute that, right? Rewire that question. A positive success-seeking question would be more so, Chase, "Hey, Claudia, what are some tips to increasing my phoning efficiency? What are some tips to helping me see that 60% national average, or even that 70 to 80% average that we see, here in our organization?" So I'm more inclined to move, mountains to help you in that realm versus, what if? Because I don't know, what if an elephant fell through the sky right now? I'd probably die. All right, there's nothing I can do about that. So we want to focus on what we control, is what I mean by that. And so what you focus on, alrighty, is where your energy flows. So we want to focus on the things that we can control. What I can control is making, more calls. Maybe our numbers are off that week. Maybe, we made 8 calls, but statistics tell me if I make 10, I'm more inclined to get that one booked, right? Or whatever that looks like. So maybe it was just 2 calls off, or, maybe it was just a bad day or a bad time, right? When we listen to you and we work with you on that, we're able to kind of like a doctor, right? Write down your symptoms, hear your symptoms, and then prescribe you what you need for that, okay? But it's going to start with those positive success-seeking questions. Now, strong work ethic, that's not saying, Daniel, you have to work 24/7, 7 days a week or anything like that. That's saying with the time that you do have, take advantage of it. Alrighty. And we're going to help you find your areas of opportunity within your schedule, just like we did here these next 2 days, right? I know your teachers were super excited about your new job opportunity. So we're excited to have you here, and that you move some things in your schedule to be here, boss. That really shows your commitment. And I'm excited to work with you. Kathy had nothing but nice things to say about you. And I'll say this: if you guys want a magic trick here, the biggest tip I can give you in taking advantage of the job, the magic number is 10. Everybody write down 10. You're going to hear us use the number 10 a ton, okay? Your first 10 days, with day 1 being Saturday after training. If I could give you any tip, and a magic tip at that, it'd be, how can you open up your first 10 days, starting with Saturday? Seriously, how can you open up your first 10 days? Because what that tells me, if you can open up your first 10 days, and by the way, I'll never ask you to sacrifice like family, faith, or anything like that ever. But your first 10 days, you don't get back. All right. That's called your fast start. And your fast start breaks down a little bit like this. You have 3 average days. All right. 3 good days. You're going to have 3 crap days. I'm telling you now. And those are probably the days, Matthew, William, where you're not going to call me. You're not going to talk to me. You're like, I don't want to let Claudia down. You're not going to let me down. All right. That's when you want to call me the most, by the way, during those crap days. Cause I've heard it. I've heard everything. I've experienced it. We got a solution for you. And then you're going to have 1 wild card day. So 3 average days, 3 good days, 3 crap days, and you're going to have 1 wild card day. That's how those first 10 days are going to break down. In your first 10 days, if you can free up what you can, I know when Kathy started the job, guys, she was working 2 serving jobs and she was working a retail job at Macy's while being a college athlete. And she gave up some shifts. All right. She gave up some shifts. She opened up her schedule as much as she could. And that really helped her get off to a fast start. You know, in her first summer, she earned over $22,000 in income to go study abroad in London. By the way, that's not average, but if you set yourself up the right way, you can, create great opportunities for yourself and we can help you. My ultimate goal is that everyone's able to work part-time and make a full-time income. All right. But in your first 10 days, we incentivize you. How many of you like free stuff by show of hands? I'm gonna rate the room here. If you didn't raise your hand today, well, William, you almost missed out on getting some free stuff this weekend. Yeah, he was like, all right. I'm telling you, Paul raised his hand so fast, he almost took out the computer. All right. So I say that because we're gonna incentivize you, we're gonna hook you up. How many of you like free trips or you like to travel? All right, y'all saw them Jamaica pictures in Madrid. You're like, I wanted to be there. All right, cool. So we're gonna incentivize you in your first 10 days to get off to a fast start. And what's the worst thing that can happen? You knock out a couple promotions, you earn a couple $100, you win some free stuff, right? You have fun, you end up further than you thought you would in the first phase. That's my ultimate goal, is to help you all go out and have a great fast start. Now, as far as 2 technical keys to success, it's pretty simple. It's a repetition of the programs. All right. Repetition of the program. So Matthew, what sport did you play, boss? I saw your hand go up earlier.
I run cross country and track.
You were in cross country and track. And so did you just wake up one day and go out and win district, or did you, work at it every single day?
No, I worked at it every single day.
And how'd you feel when you crossed that finish line, when you hit your goals?
Felt really good and exciting.
Hey, and no one can take that feeling away from you. And I'm pretty sure you carry that feeling throughout a ton of things that you do now in life. All right. So same thing here. All right. Thank you, Matthew. Right. Same thing here. It's repetition of those programs, guys, in order to cross that finish line, right? To raise the trophy, right? We got a few here up here. Those are 4 national championships behind me, and there are 5 more somewhere else throughout this building, right? How do you get an opportunity to raise that trophy? Well, you put in the work. And so how do you do that here? Well, 15 minutes, guys, 15 to 30 minutes. Can you carve out 15 to 30 minutes each day and review your presentation? And if you want the specifics to it, here they are right here. Can you review slides 8, slides 9, and slides 10? Slides 8, 9, and 10. Those are your bread and butter. Those are your money makers. You want to get really, really good at the job? Slide 18. I would literally set an alarm every day. Take 15 to 30 minutes. Review 8, 9, and 10, and 18. And that's where you're going to be able to cross that finish line every single time. And then, naturally a passion for Cutco, right? So by show of hands, how many of you actually own Cutco or know someone who owns it? And just hold those hands up. Woo, that's a lot of people. Look at all those chickens. All right. So let's see here. Caleb, who do you know that owns Cutco?
My aunt owns a lot of Cutco.
How long has your aunt owned Cutco for? Do you know?
Maybe a good 10, maybe 15 years.
10, 15 years. Have you had a chance to use it yourself?
Yes. She has a lot of gardening tools and I helped her garden when I was little.
Okay, awesome. So guys, yes, we have gardening tools for those of you who didn't know. All right, awesome. Thank you, Caleb. Paul, who do you know?
My friend Nate and his family own Cutco, and I think they've owned it for a few years now. And I've been there, I've been to their house. They've shown me around the Cutco knives and the little shear, and it's really cool.
Okay, cool. All right. Dylan, who do you know?
Somebody who also works for Cutco, his family owns some. I've never actually been able to use it, but I heard it's really good.
All right, you heard it's really good. Okay, great,
Yes.
great, great. And I saw a few other hands go up. There's probably like 10 of you that raised your hand, all right, which is really cool. And so here's what I'll say. Everybody write this down. All righty. Passion for Cutco is just huge, right? And some of you have it because you know someone who has it, or you're like Caleb and you've personally gotten to use it. And so statistics tell me, by the way, just off Caleb being able to use it, being able to say that Caleb's aunt had it for 10 years, Caleb's naturally going to go out and, kick y'all's butt this weekend. All right. And so I'm not saying that to blow your, like to make your head big or anything like that, Caleb, or to play, anyone else down or anything like that. It's just because Caleb's going to have a different conviction. All righty. And so here's the thing. You want to know how y'all all can have that same conviction? Testimonials. All righty, testimonials. So you guys run into anyone who has this stuff, go ahead and write this down. All righty, there are 3 things that you want to ask. All righty, 3 questions you want to ask. 1, how long have you had it? All righty, how long have you had it? 2, what's your favorite thing about it? And 3, would you recommend it? All righty, so 1, how long have they had it? 2, their favorite thing about it, and 3, would they recommend it? And you always, always, always want to get a picture of them with it or of it, right? And we call that a testimonial. Now, when I started, guys, I didn't know anyone who owned this stuff. So some of you, you're in the same boat that I was in. But when I did a demo for my neighbors to Tilly's, I found out that they had owned it for 13 years. Flash forward 11 years later, now, guys, that's 24 years that they've owned the product. How cool is that? And I love that because when I go back home to church and hang out with friends and family, I don't got to hide in a corner because I sold someone like some crap product 11 years ago. If anything, they're like, oh my God, you're still doing that thing, right? Or I need new this, or you should definitely see, such and such. All right. If it's like my mom, she's like, oh, hey, Miss Mary's here. Here, talk to her. She needs knives. I'm like, Mom, that's not how that works. Right. But I'll set up an appointment with her. But they're going to be like your walking billboards, your biggest fans. And so you want to collect those testimonials because you can share them with other people. By the way, you all are able to now say, hey, Caleb, one of the trainees in my training class, aunt has had it for 10 years. They have the gardening tools. They use it all the time, right? Dylan's friends, family has owned it for, blank years. Like, you're able to use other people's stories. Alrighty. Even though you may not have that story, it is okay to use other people's stories. And so go on your demos and share that. You, like I said, some of you have met Johnny already, but his family's owned it for 65 years. All right. How cool is that? So as far as our objectives, before we go ahead and switch gears here, I have 3 objectives for you all while you work here. They're pretty simple. They go hand in hand. Alrighty, personal growth and professional growth. Now, some of you, you were brought onto the team. We had a chance to meet you in your interview. Maybe you had some experience working with people, working in customer service, or you were leaders in your church groups or sporting teams or organizations, right? And we were excited about helping you take your skills, to the next level. Now, if I'm being honest, there's another group of you who are here, and maybe you've never had a job before, right? This is your first job opportunity, or, you're here because, we saw that you needed a shot and we gave you a shot, guys. But regardless, we're excited to meet you in whatever boat you're in. What I love about this job, I firmly believe that our training is the reason that we're able to take someone who has absolutely 0 skills, alrighty, and they still be successful here, is because of the training program that we offer. The financial part, right? Financial growth, that goes hand in hand with the personal and professional growth, guys. I've never seen a job in my 11 years here where a young person, between the ages of 17 to 25 can go out and earn so much income in a short amount of time legally. All right. And I see some of you laughing. It's okay. All right, Matthew, right? It's okay. We all have that one friend that does something shady. All right. We're not going to judge them. We're just going to pray for them. Okay. But I say that because Hunter Bergeron, who's one of our Cutco sales professionals, started this job at 17 years old. He didn't get off to the fastest start, but in his second year, things really clicked and he started taking the job more seriously. And he went from, selling, I don't know, somewhere under 30 grand in a, during his first year and some change with us, to selling over $300,000 in 1 year. Alrighty. And what does that look like here in the category he was in? Well, for those of you who are sports fans, LaMelo Ball. All right, he was like the rookie of the year in our company, just like LaMelo Ball. Hunter went out and won himself a silver cup at the age of 18 years old. And so since the age of 18, he's consecutively earned six figures, and he's been able to take that and invest that into several other ventures. And, at the age of, he just turned 23 last month, he's able to, he's getting ready to buy a home. He's getting a new car currently, right? And he has $1 million network, right? And he's done that here with just the earnings that he's earned here. And so, again, I don't see anything of that to impress you, just to impress upon you. We've got some pretty cool things here. So again, I want to make sure we hone in on developing all of you into 5-star recruits. So that way, whatever it is, if it's an internship, or a job position, or whatever it is you see fit for yourself, we're able to help you get to that level. I told some of you who interviewed with me this summer, Grant Wilson, who started with me in 2021, just landed his dream internship working with the Houston Rockets this summer. And his goal is to be, a sports manager. And I was able to finish writing all of his verification stuff and his letter of recommendation. Camille Directo, who started in 2020, just graduated from UD this past weekend, is landed her dream job in a position with Hilton, and they're moving her to Atlanta this August. And that's because she was a 5-star recruit. And, she's coming back to work her last summer here with us, and then taking all that experience out to Hotlanta to really make an impact there. So for our students, guys, we have a multitude of different opportunities that you can take advantage of. Francisco, our #1 student earner of all time, as well as, Miss Nadia, who y'all will get a chance to meet both of these individuals over the summer, as they'll be, working and navigating workshops for you all for free, by the way. So you want to get good at the job, get up early, hop on the workshops. These individuals, they earn 6 figures a year during this part-time and earning a full-time income. Nadia's getting ready to finish her master's degree at Howard. She's got one more semester this fall, and she's going to have her master's here by the time that she's, 21 years old, actually. And we get to go celebrate her there with that. But here's what we're going to do, okay? We're going to go ahead and switch gears here, all right? I want to go ahead and introduce you all and get your app set up. And so managers, please make sure we get ready to get those sent out. But this is the application that I was talking about that has really helped our representatives, have a full 360 here in their business. And so I'm going to turn this over. We're going to introduce you here to the app, and then we will be sending it out to you and getting that all set up for you. So David will walk through your version of the app. He's also going to introduce you to the customer version of the app as well. And then we'll finish getting yours all set up. If you haven't verified your information, this is very important. You are going to run into issues when we start setting up the app, because that is how the app recognizes you, by the information that you verified. So please, please, please get that information verified. Miss Leslie, Johnny, Morgan, Caden, Cody, start reaching out to anyone who still hasn't completed their verification, so that way they don't get behind here.
Advancing each page in the presentation, so you're going to be able to be in full control. It also links up to our orders app. That way you're able to build out a shopping cart for your orders while you're doing a presentation. And David will also explain a new referrals app, the demo portion for the customer. That way they're able to provide way more and way more easily referrals to help build your business. So I'm really excited about this for David, and the stat tracking that it does for us. That way reps don't have to fill out forms. We don't have to be keeping track of all of our stats, all of our numbers. The app does it for us. So David, I'll let you explain the new Cutco apps.
So I'm so excited to show you guys the new apps and innovations we're coming out with. This is something we've been asking for a while. And I'll tell you, when I was a brand new rep, just being disorganized with sticky notes and papers all over the place, and losing certain notes and having to forget about, important things going on within my business. And so just having this new app just, makes it so easy. It just brings a whole new quality of life to our representatives. And I'll tell you, our teams have been loving it just because it's so intuitive. It's easy to get a hang of. And you guys will see as we walk through it, how easy it is to really grasp the concept of the apps and how it works with your demo. And you guys will be really appreciative of it too. So I'll go ahead and introduce it to you. So the first app is the Vector Impact app. So this will basically be your home base while you're working here with us. And this does everything for you. So whenever you're scheduling appointments, you'll input them into here. Also organizes your customer list for your initial contacts, as well as any new referrals or any new people you get, you can input into the app and have it in an organized list. And it'll also track all your stats as phone calls, appointments, everything. And it's just incredible. So what's cool is when you're scheduling appointments, you can input your customer's email. It'll send them a verification with a link to get to the demo, as well as a calendar invite. So this is great. And this actually coincides with the companion app, which is My Cutco Rep. And this is the customer app. So on every appointment, your customer will download this app. And really the point of it is three things. So it's for customer feedback, for them to give you feedback on your appointment. What verifies the appointment, what makes it a complete appointment is when they submit that feedback. And you'll see how that looks like here soon, as well as giving you referrals. This is when the customer introduces you to more people to call on your list. So what's cool is it syncs up with their contacts. So they're able to just select out of their contacts who they want to recommend. And it syncs automatically with your Vector Impact app, your customer list there. And it's just way easy. I remember back in the day having to make customers write it down in a notebook. One time I actually lost the notebook, and that was literally like my whole customer list was like just disappeared right there. But just everything is so easy now, just because it's saved on the cloud with the Vector Impact app. So all you gotta do is log in. You can log in on a different phone. If you get a new one or something, it's all there.
David,
Alrighty, guys, and a perfect example of that is earlier I was working with James, and he actually got a new phone and had to get re-signed into the app, and all of his information was still backed up there in the cloud. So you don't lose anything. It just gives you more space to like grow and work. And what's really cool is, one of the things he just did is he actually signed in on his girlfriend's phone too, so he can help transfer like some of her family contacts over into his app. So he's like, Claudia, I'm ready. I've got, I'm ready to push before I start my 2 summer classes and around my classes. And so I was really exciting catching up with him this morning on that. But the apps are great. You only have to worry about your version. The customers, they'll get theirs during the actual presentation. And so what we're going to do here momentarily is send out your apps, and we're going to get those set up. But before we actually do that, I actually had someone who wanted to stop in and say hello to you all, and just to help you all get the best and most out of your training. By the way, you guys are lucky because the gold period has started. So you get to see another great familiar face. So you heard me chat about her a moment ago, a little introduction. So the GOAT in our organization. So GOAT stands for greatest of all time. And you get to hear a little bit about the GOAT from the GOAT today. So I'm going to stop talking.
Thank you, Claudia. Excited to be here. Really excited to meet everybody in person tomorrow. That's going to be at the pilot headquarters. So I will be there live. This is my first time back in training since last July, I guess, last June or July. So, and I will only be here for a couple weeks. I am 33 weeks pregnant, and baby will be here any minute. So excuse, I'm a little beat up today. My 1-year-old had a surgery yesterday, and so we had a late night, but we are so stoked. And Claudia crushed it and went over so much here. But you guys are starting at the best stinking time of the year. Like, we literally just had our season opener this past Monday, the 13th, was season opener. And so we have a 2-week little warm up, getting ready, and really building momentum as we prepare and start identifying the people that we really want to lock arms with as we go into the playoffs. And so we work like any sports team. Cool. Anyone who's done anything competitive. And I was looking at some of your guys' things, whether you've been part of like a theater team, like Sadie, or, you played sports and did track. Like I said, some of the guys, you guys are, it's so fun. You get to work towards your individual goals and what you have, while working alongside an incredible team to support you on those goals, and we are committed to helping you guys grow, whether it's, you have personal goals of self-confidence or communication, personal development, you have professional goals, and really excited to like add, great resume boosters, maybe land a scholarship or an internship with us. Or you're really looking to take it financially. I'll tell you right now, 23 summers ago, when I was sitting in these seats, I was like, I just want money. Like, I wanted to study abroad in the fall. I had nothing else on my vision except make me some money. And my goal was, I needed a minimum of 5,000, but I wanted to see how could I make 10 grand, because my buddy worked here and I found out I could make more. And I was like, okay, I want to know, and through incredible tutelage and guidance, I was able to earn $22,000 my first summer at 19 years old in 2.5 months. And the coolest part is seeing so many people who have done that or beat me over the last 20 something years that I've been able to coach and work with. And so you guys are incredible hands. If you're looking for professional growth, personal growth, financial growth, the coaches you get to work with. I have Cody Rose as my side, #1 in the country, last week, one of the top, and it's fighting for the #1 title, bringing home a national championship of his own this year, which is so exciting. As our assistant division manager, he has been here for over a decade and a half. You guys are going to meet John Gradell, who runs West Houston, who started with me as a student back in 2018, and watching the growth he's had. He's one of the best developers of people, one of the top in the country as well. Jacob Kinnamore, who's been here over a decade and a half, started with Cody back in the day. They were assistant managers in the College Station office, while going to school at A&M, and they're now, our pillars. And then Claudia, you guys just had a chance to spend, who's been here over a decade. And when I first moved here, I'm from Florida, I had a chance to meet her, and just her heart. Let me tell you guys, you are in such freaking great hands. And Claudia says jump, you're like, how high? Like, whatever she tells you to do, I promise it works. She has developed so many and trained so many of our top representatives over the last 4 months who are national champions. We had like a dozen people in Jamaica because of the work that she did side by side with Cody, and developing all these people that made $2 to $5 grand their first week on the job. I mean, that's nuts. That's not normal. Don't get all crazy and pumped up, but it's possible. And I love that, that there's opportunity. If you're willing to put in the work, we can show you how to get there. Because they didn't make $3,000 to $5,000 their first week sitting around playing video games for a week. Like, they busted their butts. But I loved when I started here. I'm like, ooh, okay, that's possible. I'm like, let's go. So I'll give you guys these tips, and I can't wait to see y'all tomorrow, those who will be at the pilot headquarters. Number one, just have a lot of fun. You guys get paid to chop stuff up and eat people's food, or go online shopping with them, right? You can do appointments in person or virtual, totally up to you. I love in-person demos, but I also love the opportunity to be able to see friends' parents and family friends that lived all over the country, and be able to visit with them online. And you're developing so many incredible skills that are going to help you for a lifetime. I guess I'll just give you these couple tips today. Tomorrow, I'll be diving in and giving you guys, I'll be running the first part of training for y'all. But I'll say this, as far as tonight, what you guys are about to do and going through, and she's going to do an exercise. When I went to training, I had 17 people on my practice list. Cool. And I was like, I don't really know who else to see. And my manager did this exercise with me that Claudia and the team is about to do with y'all. And I ended up having close to 100 names on my list after this exercise. And so I would say play full out on this, like get your mind rolling, be like, who else do I know? Who do I know that knows someone? And just like brain dump, because then it allows you to be more selective. And we're going to show you how to collect numbers. We're going to show you how to reach out. There's people you talk to on a regular basis. For some of you, that might be a lot. For me, that was a little when I started. The second group are people that you know of, they know of you. You might see them a couple times a year, or it's been a while. That's where a lot of my people work, right? The third group are people that like you're connected to. There's some association, maybe the same school, maybe the same club, maybe what, but like you're not like, maybe you've never even met. You just like kind of like are passing in like the same areas, right? Same church or school or whatever. And so that's another. And then there's people that you just don't know who the heck they are. Like, you've never met them. You're going to get referred to them. Maybe it's some of your friends at school, like their parents that you've never met because you just know them from school or doing a group project together, right? So, but what I'll tell you, if you guys cling on to your managers, to Morgan, to Johnny, our branches, Caden, our veterans, and you really lean in, all right, they will help you every step of the way. And the harder you work, the harder they will work for you. 1000%. I see it all the time. So I'm so proud to get to represent the Gulf Coast Division. I get all the woo-woo, top whatever, but I'm going to tell you, I can never do this alone. And it is the unbelievable team that we have here in GCK. And we can't wait. This year is our breakout year. And our goal is to freaking crush the country and break every record we've held and bring home the 10th national championship to our organization. So whoever's long fair, we're super excited, and we'll be talking more about it. But just wanted to say hi. You guys are in great hands. Work hard on the assignment tonight, because I promise it will pay itself huge. My manager, and I'll say this and I'll pass it back to her, he said, Kathy, if I was going to give you $2 grand tomorrow, or he said, if you could have 100 names, I only had 17, right? He said, if you could have 100 names of people over 30 years old tomorrow, I will hand you $2,000. I was like, what? He goes, wait, what was that? He's like, so you're saying you could do it? I'm like, well, and he goes, I thought you only had 17. I thought you couldn't do it. I'm like, well, he goes, what changed that? I'm like, well, $2,000 tomorrow. He's like, what would you do? And I was like, shit, I don't know. I'll go on social media, go through the church directory, go through my mom's phone, go find my dad's phone, go, and he's like, good, do that. He goes, I can't guarantee, I'm not going to hand you $2 grand tomorrow, but I'll show you how to make it. And I did make $1,600 my first week. And I would have made over $2 grand if I wasn't so skeptical my first weekend. And I would have done more. So have fun with that tonight. And I can't wait to see you guys tomorrow. And I'm going to bring it for training. I'm super excited to roll with you guys. So Claudia, I'm going to give back to you.
Boom. All right. So yes, tomorrow, the room will move. All right. In person, the room will move. Bring stuff. By the way, we'll talk to you about like bringing stuff to cut. We'll play like a live game of Fruit Ninja, and different things like that. So we'll have a ton of fun, in office, give you an opportunity to use the product and stuff. So, managers, please make sure we get those apps sent out. And, Leslie, let's, make sure the pilot, got a send on there as well. But I'm going to go ahead and introduce you all to the app here. And again, if you didn't finish verifying your information, you are going to have some trouble here. So go ahead, manager, send the app. You will, Apple users, iPhone users, there is an extra step you'll have to take. Just hold on. We'll get to that for you.
Welcome to the Vector Impact tutorial series. In this section, we'll get the app downloaded, set up our profile, and import our contacts to find prospects for some demos. Before we start, we'll want to have our 8-digit rep number on hand. There are 3 ways to access the app's download page. One is by using our device's camera to scan this QR code. Another is taking the link in the email sent by our trainer. As a last resort, we can go to vectorimpactapp.com directly on our device. Once we're on the download page, we see 2 download buttons. For iOS users, we select Download Vector Impact for iPhone, select Install, and then we find the app on our home screen and wait until it's finished downloading.
Alrighty, y'all. So y'all should have received a text message. Okay, you should receive a text message with the app. And in that text message, there's going to be an 8-digit number that starts with a 6. Okay, an 8-digit number that starts with a 6. That is your rep number, right? Your recruit ID. Make sure you write that down because you will need that. Okay, so this portion here for iPhone users, pay close attention.
If we try to open the app now, we'll get an error message. Vector is an enterprise Apple developer, allowing us to host apps ourselves instead of putting them on the App Store. This ensures that only people who are part of a Vector team can access them. Because of this, we'll first need to perform the following steps. We go to our phone settings, select General at the top of the 3rd section, select VPN and Device Management in the 3rd to last section, select Vector Marketing Corporation, select Trust Vector Marketing Corporation, and then select Trust in the pop-up. We can now launch the app from the home screen. For Android users, select Download Vector Impact for Android, select Download, wait for it to load and then select Open File. If your device says it isn't yet allowed to install, select Settings. Where it says Allow from this source, toggle the switch to the on position, and then select the back button in the bottom right corner of your device. Select Install, and then select Open. Once we've launched,
Alrighty, iPhone users, if you missed this step here, iPhone users, this is where we are. If you missed a step, this is where we are. So you're going to go to Settings, General. You go to Device Management. You'll click on the application there, and then you will be able to trust the application. So again, iPhone users, Settings, General, Device Management. You'll click on the Vector Impact app, and then you'll be able to trust the application there. And that way we'll be able to get started. So once again, guys, you will need that 8-digit number that starts with a 6. That is your rep ID number, your recruit ID number. We're going to use that here to log into the application. And however you verified your last name in the app, that's also how you are going to finish verifying your information here in the app.
launch the app, the first thing we see is the sign-in page, which asks for our rep number. Entering that in and selecting Register reveals a field to enter our last name. We'll want to use the exact last name that we entered in our terms of training on day 1. Once we filled that out and selected Next, we're prompted to enter the 6-digit one-time passcode. This will have been sent to whatever phone number and email we have on file with Vector. We can enter this manually or use the autofill feature. Once that's entered, we're prompted to create a password. First, we enter something that meets the listed requirements. Then, we re-enter it in the second field to confirm. Once all the requirements are met, select Submit. From there, we're taken to the Setup Profile page, which lets us customize how our profile will show up on My Cutco Rep. We'll cover the details of using My Cutco Rep in a later section. First, we'll set a profile picture to present to each customer. We select the camera icon to take a selfie or the photo icon to choose a photo. We grant access to our camera and/or our photo library. Adjust the cropping and/or rotation. Select Save in the bottom right corner, and then select Upload. If we'd like to adjust how our name will appear to our customers, we can do so now. I myself signed up for the job using my first name, but I'd rather go by my middle name. From there, we write a bio that tells each customer a little more about us. If we plan on doing demos in Spanish or French, we can write our bios in each of those languages as well. Just select the tab for the language and fill out the field. Finally, we can preview the text message that our customers can send to their referrals to introduce us in a three-way chat. Just select the eye icon next to the company-provided verbiage. When we're done, we can select Cancel. To add our own, we select the plus icon, give it a name, modify the message in the body field, and then select Save. Once we've set our picture, corrected our name, and written our bio and optional intro message, select Save in the top right corner. The app will then ask us to grant access to the contacts on our device. This will enable the app to see our device's contacts so we can sort through them and import prospects for our appointments. This won't allow the app to modify our device's original contacts, however, it will be able to update any contacts that we make using the app in the future. Select OK to grant access. Finally, the app will ask us to grant access to the calendar on our device. This is optional, but doing so will automatically sync our scheduled appointments to the device's calendar. Select OK to grant access to this. Once this is done, we land on the Device Contacts page. In the next section, we'll cover how to sort the imported contacts and list out our prospects. Thanks for watching.
Alrighty, y'all. So we're going to go ahead and finish the setup here portion in terms of the app. So after you got all logged in there, this is very important as we set up your profile. This is, your first impression. All right, your first impression. So we're all familiar with the term, like you can't get a first impression back, right? You only get one first impression. And so that profile photo that you're using, it's not a photo that you would put, I'm going to be very clear on this. It's not something you would put on like your Snapchat or your close friends on Instagram, and it's like gone in 24 hours. Okay. This is a photo that shows you in your best lighting. So I'm aware that not everyone has a professional headshot, right? Like the ones you saw of like Caden here and Johnny, right? Things like that. They looked good, right? Totally okay if you don't have a professional headshot. Our goal is to get you to a live event. All right. So that way we can take a professional headshot of you free of charge and you add that to your portfolio. All right. So you're going to learn, we're teaching you right now how to be more marketable. And so this photo, it could be a photo that shows you in great lighting. What do I mean by that? If you are a family-oriented individual, post a photo of you and your family. Alrighty. If you love your dog, post a picture of you and your dog. Okay. If you got a graduation photo, that works. If you had, you played sports and you have action shots, right, that someone may have taken of you, post a photo of you, playing sports, but something that people can relate to, because 9 times out of 10, this is going to be the first time that some people meet you by just seeing that profile there. When like your auntie, Dylan, introduces you to like some of her coworkers and friends and neighbors, right, Dylan? That's the first thing they're going to see is that profile there. So you want something that shows you in a good lighting. When it comes to crafting a good bio, I put some questions here to help y'all jog something down there. You definitely want to take a screenshot of this because I know you'll be improving it over time. And if you really want some extra help, you can send us a picture of your bio, like a screenshot, or just copy and paste and text it to us, and we can give you some tips there. But I'm going to give y'all here about 5 minutes to just set up your app, okay? Work on your bio, get your picture taken care of, and then we're going to go from there, okay? But I'll give you about 5 minutes here.
put in my heart for lockdown, oh lockdown. Girl, you sweet life, phantom, phantom. If I tell you say I love you, you know they for me, young girl, oh young girl. No tell me no, 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 oh, 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 oh. Baby, come give me your lo, 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 oh, 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 oh. You got me like whoa, 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 whoa. Shawty, come give me your lo, 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 oh, 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 oh. I see this fine girl from my party, she wear yellow. Every other girl they do too much, but this girl mellow. Now in my fine situation, I go use they tell I'm mellow. Finally, I find way to talk to the girl, but she ain't no one follow. Who you gonna phone for one? When you know I come for one, then I start to feel a bum bum one. But she dey give me small small one. I know, say she sabi pass it down one one. But she feeling insecure, cause her friends go they go my light ring go on. Go they go my light ring go on.
Yeah, I know we look shy, but for you I get down low. And my hips make you cry when I'm moving around you. Do it once, do it twice. I push back, you hold me tight. Get a taste for a night. Baby, show me you can calm down, calm down. Dance with me and take the lead now, lead now. Got you so high that you can't come down, come down. Don't you ask, you know you're allowed, allowed. When it's you, I can't say no. Oh, 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 oh. Baby, give me low. Oh, 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 oh. You got me like oh, 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 oh. Shawty gon' give me a low, 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 oh, 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 oh.
As I reach my house, I see me got a small wall. As me, I wake up, now she did my mind don't walk. Day one, day two, one of you folk go us. Now so me, I go down, see me willing go walk.
Got my hand on your heart now, I can feel it race. If I leave, then you say you can never love again. Wanna give you it all, but can't promise that I'll stay. And that's a risk you take.
Baby, calm down, calm down. Yo, this your body, it puts in my heart for lockdown, oh lockdown. Yo, you sweet life, phantom, phantom. If I tell you say I love you, you know they for me, young girl, oh young girl. No, tell me no, 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 oh, 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 oh. Baby, come give me your lo, 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 oh, 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 oh. You got me like whoa, 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 whoa. Shawty, come give me your lo, 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 oh, 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 oh.
Baby, lay on back and relax. Kick your pretty feet up on my dash. No need to go nowhere fast. Let's enjoy right here where we at. Who knows where this road
All right, y'all got about another minute or so, another minute.
got nothing but time. As long as you right here next to me, everything's gonna be alright. If it's meant to be, it'll be, it'll be. Baby, just let it be. If it's meant to be, it'll be, it'll be. Baby, just let it be. So won't you ride with me, ride with me, see where this thing goes. If it's meant to be, it'll be, it'll be. Baby, if it's meant to be.
I don't mean to be so uptight, but my heart's been hurt a couple times by a couple guys that didn't treat me right. I ain't gonna lie, ain't gonna lie. Cause I'm tired of the fake love. Show me what you're made of. Boy, make me believe.
Whoa, hold up, girl, don't you know you're beautiful? And it's easy to see.
If it's meant to be,
meant to be, it'll be, baby, just let it be. So won't you ride with me, see where this thing goes. If it's meant to be, it'll be, baby, if it's meant to be. So come on, ride with me, ride with me.
Alrighty, y'all, here's what we are going to do. I know some of you are still working on this. That's okay. Alrighty, we are going to take a 5-minute break here. Okay, so you got 5 minutes, but here's the thing. I need you to come back and make sure you have paper and things like that the right width, because we're going to start our exercise when we come back, and who knows, it may be a contest. All right. So you got 5 minutes. I'll see you back here in 5 minutes.
Let me tell you. You my little boo thing, so I'll give a hoot what you do say, girl. I know you a little too tame. I'll be shooting that shot like 2K, girl. I know. Tell 'em I'm next. Tell 'em you find a little something too fresh. I know. Tell 'em I'm next. Tell 'em you find a little something too fresh. I know. Put a little gold in the teeth and the fit good, so I took the doors out the deep. Okay, I see a brother holding your seat, no beef, but I'm trying to get to know you at least. Don't take my talking to your own. I can keep it chill like the Soviet blunt. I'ma keep it real when your man long gone. If you're looking for a friend and you got the wrong song, baby girl, what's good? What's with ya? If you book tonight, that's fiction. I'm outside, no pictures. You want me? Go figure. To the back, to the front. You a 10, baby girl, but I'm the one. Hey, to the back, to the front. You a 10, baby girl, but I'm the one. You my little boo thing, so I'll give a hoot what you do say, girl. I know you a little too tame. I'll be shooting that shot like 2K, girl. I know. Tell 'em I'm next. Tell 'em you find a little something too fresh. I know. Tell 'em I'm next. Tell 'em you find a little something too fresh. I know. Hey, girl, you got me. I'm singing. It's like, oh, oh, you got the best of my love. Oh, oh, you got the best of my, oh, oh, you got the best of my love. Oh, oh, and then just some like, you my little boo thing, so I don't give a hoot what you do say, girl. I know you a little too tame. I'll be shooting that shot like 2K, girl. I know. Tell 'em I'm next. Tell 'em you find a little something too fresh. I know. Tell 'em I'm next. Tell 'em you find a little something too fresh. I know. If they saw what I saw, they would fall the way I felt, but they don't know what you want. And baby, I would never tell if they knew what I know. They would never let you go. So guess what? I ain't never letting you go. 'Cause your lips were made for mine, and my heart would go flatline if it wasn't beating for you all the time. So if I get jealous, I can't help it. I want every bit of you. I guess I'm selfish. It's bad for my mental, but I can't fight it when you're out looking like you do, but you can't hide it. No, put you in a frame, oh baby, who could blame you? Glad your mama made you, making me insane. You cannot be explained. Ooh, you must be an angel. Every time the phone rings, I hope that it's you on the other side. I wanna tell you everything, everything that's on my mind, and I don't want any other guys taking my place, girl. I got too much pride. I know I may be wrong, but I don't wanna be.
I got about 1 more minute.
Your lips were made for mine, and my heart would go flatline if it wasn't beating for you all the time. So if I get jealous, and we gone. We Rockefellers, we fly higher than weather, and cheap vibes are better. You know me, in anticipation for precipitation, stack chips with a rainy day. Jay, Rain Man is back with Little Miss Sunshine. Rihanna, where you at?
You have my heart, and we'll never be worlds apart. Maybe in magazines, but you still be my star. Baby, 'cause in the dark, you can't see shiny cars, and that's when you need me there.
All right, y'all, let's come on back. Come on back. Let's finish this thing strong. Let's get those cameras on. Alrighty, once again, I want to see your face and not your ceiling fan. All right, let's get those cameras on, off your feet and in your seats. Alrighty. So guys, we're going to do a really important activity right now. So I need everyone to do this for me. Just go ahead and place your hands out like this. All right, let's bring them in together like this. Let's interlock them. Let's go ahead and just, yeah, right. We got to stretch our fingers. All right. We got to stretch our fingers. Snap, crackle, pop. Yep. Whatever you got to do there. Shake it out. All right. Because this is going to be a writing activity. Okay. So raise your hands if you are excited about, earning some money and hitting some promotions. Who's excited about that? All right. Awesome. So I'm going to have some of my branches scribe this for me here in the chat box so y'all don't miss anything. But I want y'all to write this down. Okay. Our best prospects are MACs, MACs. Alrighty, MACs. Now, M stands for married. A stands for age, right? Being, 30 plus. And then C stands for casa or crib owners, right? Casa crib owner. So married, over 30, casa crib owners. Those are our top customers. Now, do me a favor, please write this down. What makes an appointment qualified is that they are over 30 and with a full-time job. All right, over 30, full-time job. That's what makes an appointment qualified. And that it's a one-on-one presentation. So no group presentations, all righty? Now, most of you in here are 17 to 25 years of age. So I'd assume that for the majority of you here, that most of your friends are also, 17 to 25 years of age. So although they are not qualified, I need y'all to use that chat box. All right. Who is? Although your friends who are 17 to 25 aren't qualified, who is? You can message me here. Who is qualified? Use that chat box. Who can tell me? Boom. All right. Right there on the money. Their parents, right? Luke, their parents. Okay. And a bunch of you messaged it at the same time, but I read Luke's first. Okay. So as we're going through this activity, every time you think of one of your friends, I want you to think of, their family. All right. So write down the family's name. So the Valdez family, or you can write, Sharon's mom, John's mom. So we're going to do a brainstorming exercise. And instead of you all thinking about it as a brainstorm, I really want you to think about it as a brain dump. Like we're literally going to dump everyone you can think of. Now, what we're brainstorming here is your first paycheck. So how many of you are excited about creating a great first paycheck? All right, so we want to play full out in this activity, okay? Because this is where we're brainstorming that first paycheck. So I want you to think of anyone you've ever met in your entire life, and we're literally just going to like dump them out on paper here. Now, I know there's going to be a lot, but you want to write them down. Even if you're like, I'd never see that person, right? So even if it's like an ex-girlfriend's mom or, ex-boyfriend's mom, it doesn't matter. I want you all to put them down anyway, okay? Because it's going to help you think of some people you might not have thought of otherwise. And so, for example, if you wrote down like an ex-girlfriend's mom and thought, I'd never see that lady, but she does have that one friend, Miss Amy, who'd be good to see. Guys, write them down anyway. All right. So again, we're just going to dump everyone on paper, and then I'll teach you how to narrow it down and figure out, who you actually want to see. But we're just going to start off and really narrowing it down to anyone who's over 30 and has a full-time job. That's the only requirement. So don't worry about the married homeowner part right now. We're really just going to focus on anyone who's 30 with a job. Okay. And as we go through this, you just want to write down anyone that comes to mind, even if you can't remember their name, by the way, just write down how you know them. So for example, when I did this exercise, we had this one neighbor who I couldn't think of her name. Like if it was the $1 million question, y'all, I promise I would have got it wrong. I could not think of her name, but you know what I wrote down? I wrote down Lady in the Blue House. And when I got home and showed my mom this assignment, I was like, Mom, who's the lady in the blue house? And she knew immediately, y'all, this lady's house was so blue. It was like the bluest, like you would never see a blue like that. But my mom was like, oh, Yvette Watson. And so I wrote that down. And I remember seeing Miss Watson for my demo. She didn't spend, $400 or anything like that, but she spent $100, right? She got something. And she introduced me to some pretty awesome people. And that all just came from me writing down Lady in the Blue House. So anything that's going to help you, because this list is, it's for you and it's for you to think of everyone that you can. And now as I go through this, I will let y'all know I will be going through some categories, and maybe I'll say a category that's really big for you, like family. All right. The whole point in me naming out these categories is to help you think of extra people to brainstorm. Now, maybe I say a category that isn't, really big for you. Maybe I say church, right? Well, here's the thing. If you're not a church going individual, I don't want you to be like, oh, I don't know anyone. That's okay. All right. I want you to look at your list and literally just hold, your pen or your pencil up and go, who do I know that is a church going individual or that knows someone that goes to church, right? Because although you may not, right, maybe you know someone who does. And so if you ever get stuck, just hold your pencil up and think, who do I know that blanks? And here's why. Because psychologically, when you put your pencil or your pen down, you literally shut your brain off and you tell yourself, oh, I don't know anyone. That's not true. So I just want you to hold it up, look at your list and go, who do I know that knows? All right. Because we're brainstorming that first paycheck. And so don't worry about getting stuck. It's not a popularity contest. It's just a fast writing contest, really. And now you're not going to call all these people in your first weekend, but the more names you write down, y'all, the more selective we can be. And what you'll notice is that sometimes when you write down one name, another one pops up. And what I can tell you is, in your next couple weeks on the job, after you've knocked out like a couple promotions and you're feeling really confident with the job, guys, you're going to want to call everybody. Caden can tell you that, from personal experience here. And so every line as we go through this assignment, it's going to be a different household. So don't write down your aunt and uncle on separate lines if they're married. All right. You can just write them on one line, and don't worry about phone numbers or anything like that. We're just going to write down the names, and then we'll go back and fill in the numbers later. Okay. So now who's competitive here? Just so I know. Raise your hand if you're competitive. Okay, cool. Raise your hand if you like contest and winning free stuff. All right, also cool. So write down as many names as possible as we go through this, and we'll go over the contest at the end. So everybody get your pens up, get your pencils up. I want to see. No cheating, no false starts here. I'm gonna disqualify you. All right. So we're just gonna start off with no categories, okay? We're just gonna start off with people who are over 30 with a job that you've met, okay? So on your marks, get set, go. You guys, a great place to start is your family. So mom and dad, grandma and grandpa, aunts and uncles. What about some cousins? You might have some cousins that are over 30 with a job. Maybe you even have some siblings. Is there anyone who married into the family, like a stepmom or stepdad? Do you have a step aunt or uncle? If you were to have a big family reunion, who would come to it? Remember to include your family from different cities, different states. So who do you know that lives in Florida, California, Colorado, New York? Anyone that lives in Missouri? Do you have any family members that had a wedding recently? Like, who were in all those wedding pictures? Who sends you birthday cards or who calls you on your birthday? Who did you go to when you had to sell Girl Scout cookies, popcorn, candy bars, raffle tickets, or, who do you know who's bought those things from others? A great category is your friend's parents. So think about all of your friends. Remember, we're brainstorming that first paycheck. So who do you hang out with on a regular basis? Who are all of your friends? Think about social media. How many friends do you have on there? Or who do you know from college? Or who do you know from high school? Who's your best friend? Did you get their parents down yet? Think about whose house you went to for sleepovers growing up, or whose house did you hang out at the most? Whose mom is really, really good at cooking? I mean, like so good, probably better than your mom, but you're not gonna say that because your mom don't play that. All right, so whose mom is really, really good at cooking? Like they make, whose mom makes the best cookies, right? Or whose mom, makes the best like cakes or pies. Whose mom was always involved in the school, like with PTA or bake sales or fundraisers, right? Who was the band mom or the color guard mom, right? Who's the ROTC mom? That was Miss Johnson for us. She would make us cookies before every single game. Whose mom was terrible at cooking, by the way? Like they were the pizza and soda family. Some of you raised your own hands, right? But whose mom was terrible at cooking? Like when they said that lady can burn, they did not mean that in a good way. Y'all don't stop writing. We're brainstorming that first paycheck. What kind of friends do you have that moved away to other schools? Or how about your ex-girlfriends or ex-boyfriends, family or friends? Yeah, Dylan, write them down. Might help you brainstorm someone else. All right, how about your current girlfriend or current boyfriend's family or friends? Guys, how many girls or guys have introduced you to their parents before? Another good category is family friends. So who do mom and dad hang out with? Like who's mom's best friend? Who's always over? Who's like a second aunt to you or a godmom to you? Or if mom was gonna go to lunch or get her nails done or hair done, right? Who would go with her? Who's your mom's partner in crime? She may have a few. Who do your mom and dad like to go to dinner with typically? Family friends might be people you've spent the holidays with. So think about this. Who comes over on Thanksgiving or who comes over on Christmas? Who hosts the barbecues or the gatherings, right? Who's the person in your family that loves to host or entertain, right? The pool parties, the barbecues. Or who's the family friend that's the life of the party? Family friends could be people that babysat you or people who your family exchanges gifts with. So who are some of your family friends growing up? Family friends can even be people that you watch sporting events with, right? So who'd you watch the Super Bowl with? Who are you going to watch the Olympics with this summer? Who are you going to watch the World Cup with? It could be people that work with your parents, right? So who do mom and dad work with? Do you know your mom's coworkers or your dad's coworkers or their boss, right? If you don't know their name, but you know they at least have a boss, write down mom's boss, dad's boss. Lady at the front desk, right? Who's a lady at the front desk? Don't stop writing. Yes, proximity is power. So what about people who live near you? How about some of your neighbors? Think about your neighbors now. Who are some of those people? They all have parents, even if you haven't met them yet. Also think about some of your family's neighbors. So growing up, if you lived with mom and dad, think about who lived to the left of you or who lived to the right of you. Is who lived in front of you or behind you? We knew our next door neighbors, besides the Tillys who own the stuff, the other ones beside us, because their grapefruit tree literally just grew over into our yard and took out the fence. So who are your neighbors? Could be people that lived up the street. Or who do you know that has a nice garden, right? Who do you know that gardens, right? Like Caleb's aunt gardens. Who do you know that gardens? Or who do you know that has a pool in their backyard? Who lived in the biggest house on your street, or who do you know that lives in the biggest house? That could be several people. Guys, don't stop writing. We're brainstorming that first paycheck. So who had the nicest car on your street, or who do you know that has the nicest car? Who has the most kids? Who do you know that has the most kids? You guys will get to meet Angela on our team, one of our Cutco sales professionals. Her sister has 12, like 10 or 12 kids at this point. Like they show up in a church van. So who do you know has the most kids? Y'all, do you know any of your grandparents' neighbors? Maybe grandma gives you all the cheese, man. So any of your grandparents' neighbors, or if you've ever moved before, who are some of your previous neighbors? Maybe neighbors in an old neighborhood that you used to live in. You can think about even, who lives in a neighborhood that you'd want to live in. Another good category is people from church, temple, any religious affiliations you have. So think about the minister, the pastor, the rabbi. Do you know somebody that leads the organization? Or how about, some people who run a part of the organization, like a youth minister, or the lady who works in the nursery? Who runs the Sunday school program? Who's in your Bible study or your study group? Have you ever had a mentor inside or outside of the religious setting? Is if you're not a church-going individual, who is? Who do you know who is? How about people that you sit near at church? Or who does your family like to sit with? The Amy's have sat in the pew in front of us for like 30 years. Or who do you avoid sitting with? Probably because they smell, right? Maybe they wear too much perfume or cologne. They pinch your cheeks. They got the old strawberry candy in their purse. Guys, again, keep writing. We're brainstorming that first paycheck. If you have siblings, here's your gold mine right here. If you have siblings, who do your siblings hang out with? Who are your siblings' friends? Write down all your siblings' friends. Guess what? Your siblings' friends have parents. Now, the next category is school. And so I want you to think first off, who are the professors or teachers that you have right now? Like, who did you have last semester or previous semesters? If you don't know their name, write down all the classes you've ever taken. So that way you know all the subjects you can look up. I can tell you from personal experience that professors are great people to do appointments with, especially because we're used on campus and we offer scholarships. So do you have an academic advisor? And from school, guys, you can think back to high school and stay focused here because this category is really big. So who is the principal, the vice principal, or who is your secretary at school? Remember, this activity is going to help you long-term and help you be really successful. How about the dean? If you went to multiple high schools, then you have multiple of these. So think about this. Who is a lady that sat at the front desk? That was Miss Guerra for me. Or the school nurse. Who is a school nurse? Maybe you spent some time skipping class, hanging in the nurse's office. My school nurse was Joanne Garcia. I drove an hour to go do a presentation for her and her husband. Did you have any advisors in school or any of the librarians? My first cookware sale ever was to my high school librarian, Miss Elizabeth Rodriguez. Who are some of your gym teachers or band directors, right? ROTC instructors. How about every subject you ever took? The thing about high school is that there's literally a different teacher for every subject. So think about who taught you chemistry or physics. Guys, don't stop writing. Who taught you biology, geometry, algebra, calculus, trig, English, US history, Spanish? Who is your Spanish teacher or your world history or geography teacher? You had a ton of teachers. Who were they? So if you can't remember their names, right, just write down the subject or what they taught or, how you remember them so you know what to look up. Did you have any school counselors? Or how about all the people that you went to high school with? As all the classmates that you were in the same organizations or clubs as you, right? So who was in Key Club with you or National Honor Society? What about Spanish Club? Who was in Homecoming Court or any of your prom groups? Classmate parents are a great resource. One of my classmates, Brittany Clark, I did a presentation for her mom, Sylvia, and her mom was the head cafeteria lady of all of the Corpus Christi Independent School District. And she actually had 2 pieces of Cutco that she got from a student. that she purchased on a demo years prior, and she didn't even know she had Cutco. And so that was a very fun presentation. She recommended me to all of the school district, basically. So who did you sit next to in classes? Or who sat next to you at graduation? What kind of volunteer work have you done before? Or do you volunteer with the Houston Rodeo, right? March of Dimes, your local church or charity? You volunteer with the food bank? Who have you volunteered with before? Think about who are the leaders of clubs and organizations that you were involved in. Have you ever learned how to play an instrument before? As if so, who taught you? What clubs or activities were you involved of outside of school? Have you ever been in Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts, right? I've coached many Eagle Scouts in my time. Do you have anyone who taught you sports like weightlifting or track and field? Did you attend any summer camps? As Don't Stop Writing, we're brainstorming that first paycheck. Another big category for everyone is sports. So who have you played sports with? I literally want you to think about all of your teams that you've ever been on. First, you got to think about the coaches. Who is your varsity coach or who is your JV coach? What sports have you played? Maybe it's basketball or football. Maybe you didn't play the sport, but you knew the coach. So did you have a tennis coach, a volleyball coach, crew, soccer, lacrosse, right? Wrestling, baseball, cheerleading. Who are all the teammates that you had? All of them have moms. Go ahead and write them down. Who are you on those teams with? And think back through the years. Think about all the different teams you've been on. Again, did you have a head coach, an assistant coach? Who's coached you in your life? What about your athletic trainer? My athletic trainer, Doc, I went and did a demo for him and his wife, and I was a $500 order. I actually just saw him recently. So who are all the coaches that you had in sports? What about a dance team or swim team? Have you ever done martial arts, karate, taekwondo, or jujitsu? As you can even think about the different professions, we're almost done here, but I want you to don't stop writing. We got to brainstorm that first paycheck. So who do you know? That's a doctor. How about a doctor? Do you have a family doctor that you go to regularly? Or, who do you know that is a doctor that you haven't written down yet? What about a dentist? Who do you know that's a dentist? Like, do you get your teeth cleaned by someone? Hopefully you do. If you ever wore braces, did you have an orthodontist? Who is your orthodontist? Do you have a barber or a hairdresser that you go to regularly? Who does your hair? Who cuts your hair? By the way, think about this. Who does mom's hair, dad's hair? Who does your siblings' hair? How about a realtor? Who do you know that's a realtor? Like, who do you know that buys and sells homes or shows homes to other people? Do you know anyone who's a lawyer? Maybe you've had to use a lawyer before. Cody got to meet my family lawyer. He's great. Good people. Love to have a good time, right? How about a mechanic? Who do you know that can fix cars? Do you know anybody that does landscaping or owns a landscaping business? Or how about someone who's a pediatrician? Some of you probably still see your pediatrician and they're like, hey, it's about time to get a real doctor. All right. You're like 20 years old still at your pediatrician. It's okay. That was me. Who do you know that's an engineer? Do you know anyone who's a civil engineer, electrical engineer? All right. You know anyone who's an agricultural engineer? Who do you know that's an engineer? Do you know anyone who's a banker or a broker, right? Works at a bank? How about a nurse? Who do you know that's a nurse? Do you know anyone who's at Texas Women's, UTMB, Texas Children's, Methodist, Memorial Hermann, UT physicians? Like, who do you know that's a nurse? Maybe they're a traveling nurse. Anyone who's a veterinarian, or do you have a vet that you take your animals to? Do you know anyone who's a babysitter? Maybe they babysat you or your younger siblings, right? Or who have you babysat for? Have you ever babysat someone else's kids? Julia Aguilar, her first demo out of training was to the family that she babysit for. They spent $1,600. So do you know anyone who's good at taxes, right? We just finished tax season. Who do you know that's good at taxes? You know anyone who's a CPA or a bookkeeper? Or who do you know who's in the military? Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, National Guard, Navy SEALs, U.S. Space Force. One of my friends, Shelby Harper, she was one of the first members of the U.S. Space Force. She still won't tell me if aliens are out there. She said, what do you think? Who do you know that's a pilot? Do you know anyone that can fly a plane? Whether they fly commercial, right? Do they fly for like Southwest, United, Holy Spirit Airlines? Right? That's what they're called. Who do you know that's a pilot? Is I don't care if they fly a crop duster in their backyard. Who do you know who can fly a plane? Who do you aspire to be most like? Like, who's your role model? If you're stuck, just look at your list and think, hey, who do I know that knows these people? Do you know anyone that likes to do yoga, takes a spin class, does Pilates, takes a dance class? You know anyone that goes to F45, right? Or has a personal trainer? You guys are probably realizing you know a lot more people than you thought. So who do you know that's, tall, short, bald, right? Barely holding onto their hairline. Maybe they should let it go like Elsa. All right. Do you know anyone who's had twins or was recently pregnant or had a baby? You got about 30 seconds left, right? Who do you know that has more than one home, more than one car? Do you know anyone with a motorcycle? Do you know anyone who has a boat, right? Anyone that has a boat? Do you know anyone that has a houseboat or who lives on a golf course, right? Or has a timeshare or has a condo, right, in a different city or state? You know anyone who's a member of a country club, who sends their kids to private school? Do you know anyone who's ever had plastic surgery before? Whether it looks good or bad, we're not going to judge them, all right? Do you know anyone who has really big shoes, like size 18, right? Plays professional sports? Don't stop writing. Guys, who do you know that has really white teeth, right? Or really nice teeth, right? Nice veneers. But not the big cheap teeth. I heard that's embarrassing. I heard that from Lil Baby. Alrighty, guys. Alrighty. Great work. Great work. Pencils down. Okay. Now go ahead and add up the total. And this can include, by the way, names that you already had written down. And I want you all to message me in the chat box directly. Message me, Claudia, directly in the chat box. And I want to see who has the most. So I'll give you about 2 minutes or so to add up your list there, see what you came up with. All right. And then once you get that there, just message me here in the chat box. And we'll see where you finished, who has the most there. All right. So just go ahead and drop that in the chat box.
I wanna get numb and forget where I'm from. 'Cause looking in your eyes, like looking at
So we're going to add up what you came with and what you came up with here today. And send me that total. Nice. Nice. We got several sets of twins here in the chat box. Nice. Alrighty, make sure you message me directly there in that chat box. Give you about 30 more seconds here.
I just wanna get lost tonight and dance with you. I just wanna get way too high, let's set the mood. You're my fantasy, yeah. I don't wanna fall asleep, yeah. There's nothing in this world I'd rather do. I wanna get numb and forget where I'm from. 'Cause looking at your eyes, like looking at the sun. I feel like you're the moon, I feel like I'm the one. I wanna get numb, 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 numb. I wanna get numb and forget where I'm from. 'Cause looking at your eyes, like looking at the sun. I feel like you're the moon.
Alrighty, so by show of hands, how many of you have more people on your list than you initially came into training with today? Nice, mission accomplished. So check this out. I'm going to help you further expand on that list. I know there's some people that you have on that list that you haven't seen in a while. You don't have their number, right? You're like, man, I'd love to see them, but I don't know how to get in touch. Well, I'm going to give you a simple 90-second video to help you start, connecting the dots there here momentarily. But before we do that, I promised you I was going to talk a little bit more so about our target market. Okay. And so now that we have our list, what is it that we do next here?
Okay, now we have our list. It's not complete, it's never complete, it's an ongoing process, but at least we have a strong enough list that we can hit whatever goal we want in our fast start. No matter how big our list is, no matter how confident or unconfident we may be in our current list, as long as we show our best prospects, then we're going to continue growing our leads, we're going to continue growing our business. Birds of a feather flock together. So we want to start with the right customers, because if we start with the right customers, we're going to continue building referrals of similar types of customers. So let's talk about who the best prospects are. They're called MAC customers. M stands for married. Let's talk about why married is so important. Now, it doesn't mean that single people don't eat. It doesn't mean that single people don't need knives and use food. Certainly, single people would love Cutco. But what's an easier presentation? What's more of a layup sale this weekend? Well, certainly a married couple. Because if it's a married couple, well, they have dual income. And if they don't have dual income, it's because they don't need dual income. Also, when you have a married couple, they're interested in different things. So Mrs. Jones might want certain things. Mr. Jones might want certain things. So inevitably, the order and the average order size increases when we show married couples. It's also really, really unlikely that a married couple is going to look at the entire Cutco presentation and find nothing that they're interested in. It's super rare. So when we show married couples, more often than not, it's going to be a sale, and more often than that, it's going to be a nice sale. So we want to show married couples first. Plus, it's a more fun presentation, because when you're showing married couples, it's more interactive, it's more engaging, and you have fun and you actually learn the demo better when you're showing a married couple versus just a single person. Now, are there exceptions to the rule? Of course. Like when I first started, my grandma was around, but my grandpa wasn't. Of course I was going to show grandma because it's my grandma. And by the way, grandmas are like the only person that are obligated to buy. So you got to show grandma no matter what. So there are single people who are going to buy. Let's say you have one of your friend's dads though. And let's say you have a friend's dad that buys everything and is, could be a really good prospect, and you think they'd be a great fit for one of your first presentations. Well, I just wouldn't take the risk. This weekend is all about giving yourself success and all about making sure you're showing your best customers first and giving yourself a ton of layups. So that single guy who buys everything, he might buy everything this weekend, but he'd also buy everything next week. And I wouldn't want to chance my confidence this weekend, because this weekend I only want to show customers that I'm pretty sure that if they wanted to buy, they definitely could. So I'm going to give myself as many layups as I can, and we know that married customers, married couples buy the most Cutco. I'm not saying that you shouldn't see those single people, but what I'm saying is do yourself a favor and wait, because what I don't want you to do is waste the opportunity and lose the chance for that sale. Because if you showed that single guy this weekend and you're kind of new and you're not really comfortable with the material, it's going to be really hard for you to make that sale versus showing them next week or a couple weeks from now once you've built your confidence. When we show married customers, married couples, it's the most comfortable atmosphere, it's the lowest pressure for you and the lowest pressure for the customer. So we want to make sure you're showing as many married couples this weekend as you can. Show your married couples first. A stands for age, and we focus on customers who are between 30 and 60. Now, can people that are younger than 30 buy Cutco? Of course. And by the way, any sale that you write up, you'll get commissions off of any sale, but they have to be over 30 to qualify for base pay. And the reason is because most couples or most people that are in their mid to late 20s, they don't have as much savings, they don't have that foundation yet. We show our 30 to 60 customers first because we want to show people that if they wanted to buy Cutco, it would be an easy decision. I didn't really like showing customers that weren't in the market, because if I showed customers a product that they really loved and they couldn't afford it, well then I just felt bad. So I wanted to make sure that all my customers, if they wanted it, they could get it. So I focused on 30 to 60. Now, are there customers who are older than 60 who could buy Cutco? Of course, right? This is like, grandma who's stocking up, the house and buying gifts for all the family and friends. So you can certainly show people that are older than 60, but you want to focus on the main age range is between 30 and 60. C stands for casa or crib. You want people that have their own place and have their own home. A mortgage versus a rent is way more ideal because when somebody owns a home, they're investing into that home. And again, we want to set ourselves up for layups. So people that own a home, they're way more likely to buy a nice product that's going to be an heirloom product that will be with them for years and years. Now, personally, as a renter, I love Cutco and I love my product, but I wouldn't be the first person you see. I'm not your typical prospect. Now, if you showed me an ultimate set, I could buy it. Do I have the income for it? Could I afford it? Yes, but I'm not married. I am between 30 to 60, but I don't own a home. So I only have one out of those three. So if you were gonna have me on your list, I wouldn't be one of the people that you call for this weekend. So here's what you're gonna make. You're gonna make the Ask My Manager list. As you go through your list, if there's anyone that you have on your list that would be an unbelievable customer, some of you are like, I cannot wait to see them. They're gonna buy everything. I don't even care if they have all the MAC requirements. They're gonna buy everything. If you have a customer that you know is just a killer customer that's going to help you hit your goals and you're so excited to see them, write them down and ask your manager first. If they're missing one of those three components, M, A, or C, just run it by them first. Our job is to help you succeed. We're not going to set you up for failure. If we think that would be a good prospect, we'll give you the thumbs up and we'll say go for it. If we think you should wait, we'll probably give you the advice to wait a little bit. So trust in your manager, take that advice, and make sure you make your Ask the Manager list for anybody who is not a MAC prospect but you really want to see. Just get the thumbs up first. That way you know you're making the right decision and your manager can help you on stay on track.
Alrighty, guys. So kind of like we talked about earlier, I said I was going to talk to you a little bit about your target markets. That's the same scenario there. So we know our MACs are what move the needle first. Now, here's the thing that I want y'all to realize. So I am going to use a lot of sports references and things like that, but I promise I won't leave you in the dark here. So let me actually go ahead and share my screen here so you can see what I'm referring to. So in your first weekend, I want to make sure I'm able to protect you and set you up for success. And so we're going to think about, the game of basketball is a perfect example here. So your layups this weekend, right, which is the first shot, the first attempt you learn in the game of basketball, your layups this weekend are your MAC customers. And if they have, they cook and they have kids, oh my God, we call those MAC daddies. All right, get excited. But in your first weekend, when you're brand new on the job, you have a 95% chance of laying those shots up there. Okay, 95% is awesome. So this weekend, whether you have, 5 MACs, 10 MACs, 20 MACs, 30 MACs, right? I want you to focus on what you have. And for some of you, I'd rather you do less in your first weekend with the right people than go out and try to shoot a bunch of shots that I haven't taught you how to shoot yet. Now, my goal is to have you shoot from all over the court, but this weekend, we're going to start right here with our layups. Now, what is a 60% chance? It's kind of stepping back out from the layup there. Well, a jump shot or a free throw would be more so of a 60% chance that you would have being brand new, right? So that's someone who maybe is 2 of the 3. Maybe they're married and a homeowner, but they're not over 30, or maybe they're over 30 and a homeowner, but they're not married, or they're divorced. As when you're brand new, you have a 60% chance of making a shot like that. Now, the absolute no-go, right, especially being brand new, is trying to pull up from half court like a Ball brother or Stephen Curry or Caitlin Clark, right? I'm not going to teach you how to do that in your first weekend. All right, so that's the no-go zone. 3-pointer half court shots, those are non-max single guys, right? People under 30. When you're brand new, that is, you have a 40% chance of sinking that shot. Even myself, as someone who's been here 11 years, that shot is more so in the 60 to 70% range still, right? So it takes a little bit of skill level. And so this weekend is about your basics and laying a good foundation. All right. And I say this because I don't want you guys to hurt yourselves. I would have ruined a lot of leads early on if I didn't listen to my manager and I tried to start from half court. Our goal is to help you build out gradually over your first 10 days. That's the most you're ever going to talk to us, by the way. You're going to talk to us more than your significant other or your parents or things like that. And it's not so we're all up in your business or anything like that. It's just the more that we're able to chat with you in those first 10 days, the more we're able to help you lay that solid foundation and build upon that and then teach you how to shoot from all over the court. All right. That's the ultimate goal. So that's going to come with the advanced trainings and things like that we have in these next couple weeks. So here's what we are going to focus on, right now. Right now, we're going to focus on what you do have. So go ahead and open up the Vector Impact app, and I'm actually going to teach you how to sort and categorize the prospects that you currently have. Because I know on that list that we brainstormed, you have some people that, you don't have their contact information, right? But I am going to teach you how to get it. But right now, I want to focus on, what you do have. So everyone open up the Vector Impact app. You're going to click more in the bottom right-hand corner. And then you're going to click where it says device contacts. All right. You're going to click more. And then you're going to click where it says device contacts. And in the chat box, I'm going to send y'all like a little legend, essentially is what it is. So basically a prospect is anyone who is age, right, 30 and up, right? For those individuals, what we are going to do, we are going to swipe right, and then we are going to categorize those individuals as well, okay? As we're going through this. And so you'll be able to see that in a moment. A contact, alrighty, a contact is anyone who is, age 29 and under, okay? For those individuals, we are going to do nothing, right? So don't touch them, all right? But then you have businesses or organizations. I know some of you have in your phone. So what's a business or an organization, right? So let's say like Jimmy John's or, the pool supply or anything like that, right? So Jimmy John's, like your high school, stuff like that. With those individuals, what you're going to do is you are going to swipe left. So this is your little legend here. So a prospect is anyone who's age 30 and up. We'll swipe right on them and then we'll categorize them. A contact is anyone who's 29 and under. We'll do nothing with those individuals, just leave them be. And then a business or organization, right, we'll swipe left on. And so here's Jacob actually doing that for you, and you can see how simple it is.
Welcome to the Vector Impact tutorial series. In the last section, we downloaded and set up Vector Impact for the first time, as well as imported our device's contacts. Now we'll get these contacts sorted. We'll start off on the page titled Device Contacts. If you aren't there yet, select the More tab and then Device Contacts from the list. For contacts that represent a business, swipe left on their row. If you did this by accident, swipe left again to undo. To mark a contact as a prospect, swipe right on their row. Swipe right again to undo. Once a prospect is marked, we can fill out their demographics. We can set whether the prospect is married by selecting the checkbox next to the wedding ring emoji. Each selection cycles through checked for married, unchecked for not married, back to question mark for unknown. You can set whether the prospect is a homeowner by selecting the checkbox next to the house emoji, which cycles through homeowner, not homeowner, and unknown in a similar fashion. The hourglass emoji represents the prospect's age range, and selecting it will cycle through the 30 to 64, 65 and over, and 29 and under ranges before toggling back to unknown. When the countdown to the left of these buttons reaches 0, the selections will be submitted, like so. Once we've marked all desired contacts as a prospect, we can see them listed out on the Prospects tab. Prospects can also come from two other sources. The first is from your device contacts, which we just saw. One is from customers that send you referrals using MyCutCoRep, and the other is when we add prospects manually. To do that, select the plus icon in the top right corner to pull up the new prospect form. Enter their first and or last name as well as their phone number if you have it. If you're going to communicate with them in Spanish or French, you can specify that in the language dropdown. If this person was referred by another prospect associated with your account, you can link them up to this new prospect as a referral. Once we've entered all the information for this contact, we select Save in the top right corner. We can immediately add another or select Done to go back to the prospects page.
Alrighty, so here's what we are going to do right now, okay? We're just going A through Z, right, through your current prospects that you have,
You
and
see
you
that
can
they
actually
switch cycles
categorize
through
them,
homeowner-
okay? And so go ahead, like we said, you can swipe right or hit the plus icon on anyone who's a prospect, which is 30 and older, all right? Anyone who's 29 and under, we're gonna do nothing with, and then, you know, businesses or organizations, you can swipe left on. Now, once you click your prospects, fill out their demographic the best that you know. So if you know they're married, check off the wedding ring, right? If you know they own a home, right, you can check off the house. And if you're unsure, you can leave it as a question mark, and we'll show you how to go back and toggle that. But you want to get as much of this done here. We're almost here to the finish line, so that way you're set up for success tomorrow. Tomorrow will be a breeze.
not homeowner.
Morgan, check your text, please.
Tonight I wanna hold you close. I don't wanna let you go. Loving you is all I know. Girl, look into my eyes and tell me why. You got me tantalized. Yeah, you got me feeling so alive. Ain't no surprises. On our way, we don't waste time. Grab my hands, lay 'em down on your waistline. Then we get low. If you let me take you for a ride, you'll memorize it. Tonight I wanna hold you close. I don't wanna let you go. Loving you is all I know, and I don't wanna dance alone. Let the music take control, and all of your problems go. If we never make it home, I don't wanna dance alone. Don't wanna dance alone. Don't wanna dance alone. Even if it's only for a night, make it feel like a lifetime. I could never ever sell you lies. Your touch is righteous. On our way, we don't waste time. Grab my hands, lay 'em down on your waistline. Then we get low. Even if it's only for a night, let's make it timeless. Tonight I wanna hold
We're literally just going A through Z there. You want to make sure you're set up for tomorrow. You don't have anything to worry about there. Getting your app all set up and good and ready to go.
let the music take control, and all of your problems go. If we never make it home, I don't wanna dance alone. Don't wanna dance alone. Don't wanna dance alone. Put your hands all on my body. Once we started, we can't stop it. Put your hands all on my body, 'cause I don't wanna dance, I don't wanna dance alone. Put your hands all on my body. Once we started, we can't stop it. Put your hands all on my body, 'cause I don't wanna dance, I don't wanna dance alone. Tonight I wanna hold you close. I don't wanna let you go. Loving you is all I know, and I don't wanna dance alone. Let the music take control, and all of your problems go. If we never make it home, I don't wanna dance alone. Don't wanna dance alone. Don't wanna dance on our way, we don't waste time. Dance with my hands, lay 'em down on your waistline. Dance alone.
All right, so I'll give you about a minute or so here, a minute or so here. You want to get as much of this done as possible. This will be part of your assignment to complete tonight.
This ain't Texas, ain't no hold 'em. So lay your cards down, 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 your Lexus and throw your keys up. Stick around, round, 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 round. Stick around. And I'll be damned if I can't slow dance with you. Come pour some sugar on me, honey, too. It's a real live boogie and a real live hold down. Don't be a come take it to the floor now. Woo! Huh. There's a tornado in my city. Hit the basement. That ain't pretty. Rugged whiskey. We surviving. A red cup kisses, sweet redemption, passing time, yeah. Ooh, one step to the right. We headed to the dive bar we always thought was nice.
Alrighty, I'm going to bring y'all to a brief pause, okay? I remember the name of the game is you want to finish this portion tonight. You want to go A through Z. You want to sort, get all of that done, so that way you're ready and set up to go for tomorrow. But I know, you guys just worked on your brainstorm list. And when I look at the average, if I had to take the average of everyone here from the numbers that you sent over to me, you guys pretty much brainstormed somewhere between, on average, about 62 people. If I averaged what everyone sent over from the group, potential people that you could do appointments with. And so great job there. Now here's where the extra work starts. How many of you brainstormed by show of hands, someone that you don't have their phone number, you haven't been in contact with them for a while, right? Anything like that? Okay, cool. So here's an easy way to help you take care of that this evening, because tonight is about, the groundwork that you do. What if I told you that if this little effort that you put in this evening could set you up for the next 3 to 5 years, right? Would you go all out at it? Heck yeah, you would, right? Kathy told you earlier, her manager was like, hey, if I gave you, $2,000, right? Right now, if you came back with 100 names and numbers, you'd go and find them. All right, you would if I said I'd write you a check for $2,000. Now, I'm not going to do that, but you do have an opportunity to set yourself up for that in your first 10 days. We've probably trained the most people in the nation these past couple months to go out and do that, myself and Cody, and a few of them are actually on right now who've gone out in their first 10 days and earned over $2,000 in income. So I say that just so you know it's possible, but it's going to start with the little work that you do tonight. And so here's Caitlin Solomon showing you how she, initially came to training with about 30 names and numbers. And when she came back the next day, she had over 90 people she could potentially reach out to just by doing this little assignment here.
For the okay, so I wanted to ask Caitlin, how many names and numbers did you come to training with on your second day? Do you remember?
Yeah, so I basically had about 30 names and numbers on my first day, and then I did what I'm about to tell you guys, and I came to training the second day with around 80 to 90 numbers.
Okay, so
names, I should say.
share with people how you did that.
For sure. So could I share my screen real quick so I can kind of show them?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, cool. So just to tell you guys a little bit real quick, basically what I did was, by the way, whose parents here have like Facebook, like mom and dad, grandma, grandpa, like who? Okay, so mostly everyone, right? Okay, awesome. So what I did is I didn't know, and I didn't have the names and phone numbers of a lot of my family friends and my mom's friends, coworkers, and things like that. So what I did is I actually went on my mom's Facebook, and I'll share my screen so you can kind of see here real quick. This is my Facebook, but let me go ahead and search my mom real quick. This is my mom's Facebook. If my computer will load. Anyone around here sell German Shepherd pups? Not me. Okay, so I basically clicked on her friends. You can see she has 563, which, by the way, they don't need to have a lot as long as they have some friends. That's good. So what I did is I made a spreadsheet, and I went through every single one of these people, and if they looked like a nice mom, like her, she looks like a nice mom, right? And this lady just has her kids as their picture, so she's probably a nice mom. And her, and her, and her, and her, like literally just went through every single person in my mom's friends list. And if they look like a nice mom, I'd even click on some of them and look through their pictures a little bit. And if they look like a nice mom, I wrote them down. If they look like a nice dad, I wrote them down. After I did that, I probably had somewhere around the 100, 120 range of names. And I didn't have any of their numbers because these are my mom's friends. So I'll go ahead and stop sharing my screen here. So what I did is I sat down with my mom. We talked for about 30 minutes to an hour, right? So super easy. And I was like, Mom, look, I have this goal. I really want to do well at this job. And if I come to training on day 2 and day 3 with a ton of names and numbers on my list, I'm going to be able to book a ton of appointments and do really good right off the bat. So I shared that with her, and I shared with her that I really wanted to be financially stable and independent, and the rest of my goals too. And she really wanted to help me out, which, you know, most moms typically do want to help out their kids, right? So I was like, okay, Mom, I have this list of moms' names. I know you know all these people, they're your friends on Facebook. So can you hook me up with like all their phone numbers? So I just basically went through the spreadsheet one by one, and I was like, okay, Mom, how do you know this person? From PTA, from the neighborhood? Okay, great. And you have their phone number? Okay, awesome. And I just went through every single one, wrote down their phone numbers. That's not the only thing I did. I was able to get probably around 40, 50 names and numbers from doing that because my mom didn't have all their numbers. So I did have to do some other messaging. And Damien will kind of talk to you guys more about that, how to message people. But the second thing that I did was I actually personally messaged everybody that I knew on Snapchat and Instagram because they all have parents, right? All my friends. So even if I didn't know them for that long, or even if I just had one class with them and we talked like one time, they're my friend on Instagram and Snapchat, right? So they're probably nice enough. So I basically just messaged every single person, and I was able to get about 30, 40 more names and numbers from that. And it's a super, super nice message. It's just basically, I just started this brand new job showing Cutco. I have to do a bunch of practice appointments so I can, practice. Do you think your parents would be nice enough to listen to my presentation? And most of the people were nice. Some people obviously didn't respond or didn't say, said no, but most of the people were like, oh yeah, my parents would love to help you out. And these are people who I hadn't even talked to that much, or it had been a couple years since I'd seen them. But people want to help out people with goals. So if you share your goals, they're going to want to help you out most of the time. So those are the two main things that I did. And I actually had one friend, or a couple of friends, who I hadn't talked to them in 2-3 years, did a presentation for their parents. And I was obviously kind of nervous because hadn't talked to their kids in a while, and I didn't know if they knew that or not. But the parents ended up buying Cutco, and it was a great presentation, both of those instances. Even one of them, I think it was a guy, I was friends with a guy in choir, and for like 1 year, my freshman year in high school, hadn't talked to him since then. I did a presentation for his parents, and they bought like a homemaker set or a signature set. But I reached out to him because I was like, you know what, I want to do really well. I don't know this guy that well, but if I reach out to everybody, you never know. So.
And how much did you sell in your first 10 days because of all this extra effort that you put in?
I ended up selling $11,000 in my fast start, my first 10 days.
Alrighty, guys. So it's as simple as asking, for a cup of sugar or a stick of butter, right? And that extra effort was able to help Caitlin really set herself up. By the way, guys, with her starting the job, not really knowing much about it, and getting started, she went out and ran a branch office that summer. She was a number 3 office in the nation. Upon graduating from Texas State, she earned a top entry level position, earning 6 figures with her experience from here, which is pretty awesome. So they don't have to have a ton of friends on Facebook, guys, when you go do this activity. For those of you who are working with me, I'll get you another video tonight on this. They just have to have a few. All right. And what's really cool is those people that you have in common are probably like, cousins, aunties, right? Distant family members that you probably haven't met just yet. And let's say you go to someone's page and it doesn't show their friends list. It doesn't mean that they don't have any friends. Let's be realistic, right? Your mom's been around for a little bit. So of course she has friends on there. Her friends list is probably just private. So how do you find someone's friends on Facebook if their friends list is private? Well, you just go to their birthday, right? You scroll on their notifications wall and you go all the way down and you find their happy birthday post. And when you find your happy birthday post, that's where you're going to find their actual friends, all the people that wrote happy birthday to them, that liked the post, right? So those are her 95 friends right there. It's not that she doesn't have friends, it's just her list is private there. Another thing that Caitlin talked about is, friends from school, right? That she went to school with, or people that she didn't even talk with most often, but friends, parents are a great resource to help you all, especially getting started and in your first 10 days. Like I said, it's like asking for a cup of sugar or a stick of butter. What I'm about to show show you right now, Daniel Solomon used this, and he picked up an additional 30 plus names and numbers just with what I'm about to show you here on this next sheet here. So you definitely want to get a screenshot of this. This is how you reach out to friends to get their parents reach out to friends to get their parents contact. All right. Because although they aren't qualified, their parents are. And what's really cool is you get credit just for doing the presentation. But I can tell you, it could be kind of weird, Henry, if you Luke, sorry, I called you by your last name, but Luke, if you just reached out to your buddy and you're like, hey, let me get your mom's number. And they're like, what? Like, what do you mean? Right. With no context. All right. They may think you're trying to do something weird. And you're like, no, dude. Just tiny favor to ask, right? So right now I'm working really hard towards, and so for those of you who are a student, right, you're able to mention that scholarship because from the moment that you launch on Saturday, you automatically get placed into our scholarship race. By the way, we haven't missed a campaign in like the past 9 campaigns. So like 3 years where we haven't had one or multiple people win the scholarship. So just this past campaign alone, we had Jalen McDonald and McCade Mazengale, who you all get to meet, take home a scholarship. Right before that, Grant and Trevor, we've had several people make top appearances there. So for those of you who are students, you'll go ahead and add that in there. If you're not a student, guys, you just need to complete some training appointments for your new job. Basically, you have to talk to people that are over 30, really nice, own a home, and you figured their parents would fit that description. So would you mind if I grab your mom's number real quick? It would help out a ton. If they ask you what is it for, right? Hey, basically, I just need to practice my script with a quick phone call on them. They don't even have to buy or really do anything. I'm just working on my script for my training, and I need to practice on nice moms. It'd really mean the world to me. So do you think your mom would be nice? Some of you are going to have people that say, hey, can I ask them for you? Right, Daniel? And it's just like, hey, that's awesome. I really appreciate you willing to help, bud. However, part of the training is me practicing how to ask for the appointment myself. And I'd rather you not have to do that for me. Is there any way you can let me try and let me give them a call? Honestly, I'd rather try and fail versus you succeed for me. All right. The quickest way to get this response is definitely going to be on the phone. I'm telling you, I know some of you are used to texting, right? But how many of you by show of hands have texted someone and then they don't respond till like 5 hours later? All right, so don't fall victim to that. Just give them a quick call, and you don't have to put on your best customer service voice or anything like that. That's weird because that's not how you talk to your friends. All right. It's literally cool to be like, hey, bro, like, tiny favor to ask you, like the same pauses you would take when chatting with your friends, same thing. It's only weird if you make it weird, okay? If they say I can text you, say, hey, thanks, by the way, I've got pen and paper right now. Would you mind just grabbing it now real quick so you don't forget? Because here's the thing, if you're on the phone with them and you say, yeah, just text me, as the moment they hang up with you, you become less of a priority, all right? With all due respect, you're a priority in that moment when you're on the phone, but as soon as they hang up the phone, life happens, right? Pizza rolls need to come out of the oven or whatever's going on, right? And things like that. So this is super simple. For those of you who have friends, right? Some of you have friends on social media that you don't even have their phone number. All right. You have like a friend that you send reels and memes to all the time and you don't even have their dang phone number. At the top there, that's a little DM that you can send them. All right. And so, like I said, Daniel Solomon did this. This helped him, by the way, in his first 10 days on the job. He sold over $6,000 when doing this here. And he earned, his first $1,000 in income, which is pretty cool. So that is, the judge of that. And so if you didn't get a screenshot of that, I'll actually put that back up once more because like I said, I want to honor the time that we have you here, but there's a few more things, a few of you that we need a few things from. So I'll ask you to hold back. If you receive an invitation to a breakout room, you'll just join here momentarily. But if you didn't get this here, just go ahead and get a screenshot of that. So that way you're able to utilize this tonight. Tonight, the name of the game is collect. We're not calling anyone to book any presentations or anything like that. I'm going to teach you how to do that tomorrow. But tonight, can you write yourself that $2,000 check, right? By putting in some work this evening. A larger list, it may take you an hour or two to really come up with and sit down and go over, but it's the best investment in your business that you can make. I've never had someone say, oh my God, Claudia, I'm so sorry that I came up with, 40 people and, I hit my first 3-4 promos in my first 2 weeks and I earned X, Y, and Z. I've never had anyone apologize for that. If anything, everyone gets more excited. So I'm going to be helping you all with these assignments this evening as well. I'll be reaching out to a good amount of you personally, your personal captains like Morgan, John, Johnny, Caden, Cody, they'll all be reaching out to you, making sure you're set up the right way. But Morgan, I'm going to ask you to do me a favor and go ahead and open those breakout rooms. So guys, if you receive an invitation to a breakout room, you're not in trouble. We just need a little bit more of information from you that we didn't get in the beginning here. So if you receive an invitation, go ahead and join that breakout room. If you have any app trouble or anything like that, we'll be touching base with you on that as well. But get your app set up, work on your names list, and be ready to have some fun. Tomorrow we get started right on the dot. For those of you who arrive early, we're going to dive in with a little mini demo intro beforehand and let you actually get to use some of the product there in person. So if you receive that invitation, go ahead and join your breakout room. Morgan, do you have everyone here that you need in the main room?
Yeah, you just have to join yours, and
Okay, cool. What
Larry
room did you
needs
send me to?
join his. William needs to join his.
Am I going to room?
Claudia.
Okay, you named. Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And then have Lyric join that room.
Hayden, if Cody or you don't have anything for the CSTAT and Montgomery people, then y'all are good.
All right, sounds good. Yeah. So anybody else here? At least my Montgomery guys, you guys are good to head out. So we're all done. I don't think with the College Station guys, Cody had anything for you. But I can double check real quick. I just texted him. It should just be 1 second. Braylon, you're good to head out. All right, yeah. Everybody's good. Y'all are done for today. And then we just have training tomorrow. Everybody has the times for tomorrow and all that? Okay, awesome. All right. Everybody's good. I'll see y'all tomorrow.